Hello, my name is Sirisha Indukuri and I welcome you again to course 103 Rural Society and Polity in India, which is part of BBA Rural Management. Today we will be completing Unit 1, which is Rural Society in India, Historical Understanding and Perspectives, Lesson 4, which talks about various dimensions of rural life. The objective of today's lesson is to make you understand what is a social institution, what are the various types of rural social institutions in India, what are the functions of a family in rural India, what are the different marriage practices that are followed, and lastly, how kinship ties determine rural social association. To proceed, I will cover this lesson in the following manner. First, give a very basic definition of what is a social institution. Then we move on to understand the role of family in rural India. What are the types of family? What is the institution of marriage and what are the various types of marriage practices that we see? What is kinship and how do we trace kinship ties? Rural social institutions, family, marriage, kinship, economy and polity. In this lesson, I will be focusing on family, marriage and kinship. Economy and polity will be covered in greater detail in the following units. Before we move on, I want to first make you understand what is social institution. A social institution is a group of people who are united by common interest and follow rules of their tradition. In another way, a social institution is also seen as a system of social relationship for meeting various felt human needs. It is an interrelated system of norms. There are mainly two types of social institutions, traditional and formal. A traditional social institution is an informal institution where there is a strong group feeling. An example is family. A formal social institution is one which is clearly spelt out in a document. It is organized and formally registered under the law of the land. An example will be panchayats. Let us talk about family. What is a family? A family is the smallest social unit which is formed due to birth and legal ties. It is a unit where adult members resume the responsibility of bringing up younger children and managing economic resources. There are two types of families in India, nuclear family and joint family. A nuclear family consists of parents and their children. Before independence of India, it has been observed there were more nuclear families in villages. Due to limited resources and economic hardships, nuclear families are what are observed more in lower castes. Children of poor low caste families also set up their own nuclear families after marriage. In the case of joint families, there is more than one set of parents and children who live together. To manage farmlands and properties, upper landowning castes in rural India usually live in joint families, and post-marriage, children of the upper castes continue to stay in a joint family to contribute and to have a share in the joint family property. The family is a unit for procreation and upbringing of children, taking care of the economic needs of the dependent members. It's also about taking care of domestic needs of all, cooking, washing, cleaning. A family also means collective responsibility and participation in economic production activities. And this is the case of poorer sections of rural society, the lower castes and lower classes, especially in agriculture and allied activities. There is limited participation of upper class and upper caste women in economic production activities. Marriage. Marriage is a universal social institution for selection and arranging of partners for procreation. The institution is mainly entered into through customs, rituals and through law. In rural India, we see that it's a family affair and it brings two families together, and a marriage also mobilizes family resources. It is governed and regulated in three ways or by three procedures. So first is proscription, that is the restrictions that have been laid down by society. Second, prescription, where the possible field is defined within which one can choose a partner. And third, preferences, where importance is given to certain kinsmen for being selected as partners. There are different marriage practices that we see have been observed across regions in rural India. These are monogamy, polygamy, endogamy and exogamy. Now let us understand each one of these. Monogamy is where a person has a single marital partner. A man or a woman has a single marital partner at that point in time. Polygamy means where a person has more than one marital partner. Now in the case of men having more than one wife, it is called polygyny. Whereas in the case of women, when women have more than one husband, this is called polyandry. In India, there are examples of polyandry. We see it in the case of Todas of Nilgiris, in Kinnor in Himachal Pradesh, and also in Uttarakhand, in the Jaunsar Bawa region of Dehradun district. Polyandry is practiced. What is endogamy and exogamy? There are rules of exogamy and endogamy. What is exogamy? Exogamy is the inner field within which one cannot marry. Endogamy, on the other hand, is the outer boundary beyond which one cannot marry. I repeat, exogamy is the inner field within which one cannot marry. That's the inner boundary. Whereas endogamy is the outer boundary beyond which one cannot marry. Let us talk about specific cases of exogamy, that is the inner field. So there is a taboo on incest, that is having relations with sister, one's own sister, brother, father, grandfather, grandmother, mother. There is clan exogamy, which means not marrying within the same clan. Sapinta exogamy, which means not marrying someone belonging to the same ancestor. And there is also village exogamy. Endogamy, which is the outer field beyond which one cannot marry, is seen in caste endogamy, that is, one should not marry beyond one's caste. It is seen in class endogamy, that is, one should not marry beyond one's class. It is also seen in the form of racial endogamy, religious endogamy and linguistic endogamy. The phenomenon that we commonly observe in rural India is the practice of arranged marriages, where marriage is the primary responsibility of the parents and the kin. They are the ones who select the partner for the child from the same caste and community based on the norms. Love marriages have not been a very frequent phenomenon in rural India, and we have seen instances of strong opposition from within the caste or community. However, this scenario is now gradually changing. What are the various family attributes and individual attributes that are sought in marriages? If we talk of family attributes, family background, family reputation, the size of the family, education level of family, the socio-economic status, and also kinship are some of the attributes that are looked for. Whereas in the case of an individual, the age, the physical appearance, character, conduct, education, occupation, income, these are some of the attributes that are sought after. Kinship as a social institution refers to a set of social relationships that are formed due to blood relations, which means consanguineal, or due to marriage, which means affinal. So let's say in a village, there's a group of families that can trace descent from a common ancestor. They then constitute a lineage. Such a unit which has knowledge of these links comes together for celebrating major ritual events and also various other occasions. And these links can actually go back 3 to 7 generations. It's also important to know that people don't marry within this group. There are two types of kinship systems: patrilineal kinship system and matrilineal kinship system. A patrilineal kinship system is based on kinship with father, whereas a matrilineal kinship system is based on kinship with mother. Let us look at two illustrations to understand each of these. The first is on patrilineal kinship system. Now, when we look at kinship illustrations, a triangle refers to male, a circle refers to female, is equal to refers to marriage, and ego refers to the person for whom we are tracing the kinship ties. So the first case of patrilineal kinship, let us look at this illustration. If you look at the ego is the son, and we trace the ego's relation to the father and father's brother and sister and also their respective children. This further goes backward to ego's father's father and his respective father and sister and their children and grandchildren, and then goes one step backwards to trace the association with the great grandfather. Let us now look at the same illustration on the other side to trace the matrilineal ties of the ego. These are marked in red. We see that ego has a brother and a sister. Ego's mother has another sister and brother. So we also trace the ties with the children and grandchildren of ego's mother, sister and brother, and go backwards to ego's mother's mother and her brother and sister and their grandchildren, and further beyond to ego's great grandmother. Marriage alliances are actually the principal means by which new kinship bonds are forged. There is, however, a difference in this between North and South India. In South India, a family actually tries to strengthen existing kin ties through marriage. Whereas in the North, a family tends to affiliate with a separate set of people to whom it is not linked already. Let's understand this a little more. So in the North, nobody is permitted to marry in his or her own village and also within his or her own gotra. On the contrary, in the South, we see the occurrence of cross-cousin marriage. What is cross-cousin marriage? That is marriage with children of brother and sister. That is, children of brother and sister are seen as potential mates. A man's mother's brother's daughter, also father's sister's daughter, can become a potential mate. It was observing this practice that David Mandelbaum, he contrasts the North and the South, saying that in the North there is a centrifugal tendency, that is to go outward, whereas in the case of the South there is a centripetal tendency, that is to retain and be inward in making marriage alliances. The economy and polity are also social institutions. In rural India, we see that in the economy, land occupies the key position, and social life in a village, the power, prestige is essentially based on an economy of land and grain. The polity that we see in rural India is largely a system of local self-government, which has been vested with development functions, civil functions, law and order functions, welfare and administrative functions. However, I will take up these two social institutions in a later unit. We will conclude the fourth lesson. Thank you.